Hello out there, and welcome to another episode of Dr. JT's It's All in My Head Weight Loss Program. I'm Dr. JT. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the importance of monitoring your weight as part of a weight loss program. And first, we're going to talk about why we need to do that. And then secondly, we're going to talk about how to do that. So, why do we want to do this? Why do we want to do this? We want to do this so that we can monitor ourselves, so that we can feel ourselves, so that we can live in the present. I talked in the last episode, episode 5, about living in the present. We want to live in the present. To live in the present, we have to understand what we're feeling, how we're feeling. Because if we're in touch with ourselves, we're going to bed a little bit hungry. If we're slowly losing weight, the scales are going to tell that. That's the feedback that we're getting. If we're eating a little bit too much, or if our weight starts trending up, got to look for an adjustment. May need to do an adjustment. If we're losing weight too fast, maybe we need to slow down. You don't know if you're moving too fast, or you don't know if you're eating too much necessarily, unless you weigh yourself. That's always important. It's always important to get that feedback. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do that by weighing ourselves every day. We're going to do that by weighing ourselves every day, but we're also going to focus on the trend. We're going to weigh ourselves daily, but we're going to focus on a trend over time rather than on daily fluctuations. We need to weigh ourselves every day, but we need to focus on the trend rather than on daily fluctuations. Now, in terms of measuring daily fluctuations, we're going to talk about the moving average. And I'm going to explain to you what a moving average is and why you want to think about your weight in terms of moving averages. And then finally, we're going to talk about how you're going to monitor yourself and how you're going to keep track of things. So those are the ways that we're going to talk about how. So first, we're going to talk about weighing yourself every day. I strongly recommend that you weigh yourself every day. Now, some people might think, well, you weigh yourself once in a while, and that'll give you some idea. But if you weigh yourself every day, you're going to be in touch with yourself. You're going to get in touch with what's going on a daily basis. And as I say, we've talked a lot about living in the present, being in touch with yourself. Monitoring yourself closely is an important part of that. An important part of understanding what's going on in your body is checking in with yourself every day and comparing that with how you're feeling to getting that feedback. You're creating a feedback loop so you can see you're confirming that you're doing the right thing as you're going through the process. So that's how we want to do that. So we want also, though, we want to focus on the trend. We're going to weigh ourselves every day, but we want to focus on the trend. And the reason is that, and many of you know this, and there's a lot of talk about this, it's very well known that our weight fluctuates up and down every day. And the main reason why is that our bodies are 70% water. Our bodies are 70% water, depending upon the amount of water that we may retain in our bodies on a day-to-day basis, the amount of water that we drink, the amount of water that we retain. There's a lot of reasons for that are too complicated to go into here, but you can understand that. You can find information about that quite easily. Is that our weight is going to fluctuate from day to day, even if our trend is steady. Even if our trend is steady, we're going to go up and down a lot. So this is very important. This is very important to focus on the trend rather than on the up and down. And another very important point here is that it's easy for people to feel discouraged if they get up and find in the morning and find out that their weight went up. And then it's easy for people to panic. And that's why we want to focus on the trend. When we focus on the trend, we talk about something called the moving average. And now, what I'm going to do here is we're going to look at a series of tables that will help me to explain what a moving average is. So what's a moving average? A moving average is an average, some average over a period of time, some days of our weight over a period of time, and how that average moves with the days. So we're moving, it's an average, but the average moves over time. And that smooths out the fluctuation so we can see the underlying trend. That's what we're really interested in here. So now I'm going to illustrate what we mean by the moving average so that you can better understand what a moving average is. So we're going to do this by looking at a series of tables. So let's look at the first table here. The first table, it shows my weight. This is actual data from my own weight, and this is recent data. I'm currently in the process of losing a few pounds. So this is in pounds. We have days 1 to 7. We have a daily weight, and then that's in the middle column. And then on the right, it says 7-day MA. That means moving average. You can see that the weight is there every day. The moving average only appears on day 7. And the reason is that the average, it's a 7-day moving average, so we have to take an average over 7 days. Now you look, my weight, you can see it ranged from day 1, 193.3, and day 3, 191.1, so a 2.2 pound range over that period, up and down. You can see it's up and down. And the average for the 7 days was 192.1. So now, how do we get a moving average? So that's average of days 1 through 7. Well, we have to add another day. We're going to add a day 8, and this is what it looks like. In day 8, you can see my weight was 192.5, so it was up 0.7 of a pound. The 7-day moving average, though, was 192.0, so it actually went down. And you can see why, because the average for day 8 was the 7-day average. On day 8 was the average over days 2 through 8. So from day 2, 191.8 to day 8, 192.5, and the days in between, that average was 192.0. Well, this shows right here. My total weight went up, my daily weight went up, but the average went down. It was saying, you're okay. You're okay, the trend is still down. So I'm fine. The trend is down, I'm fine, even though on a day-to-day basis, my weight went up. So now, we're next going to turn to the third chart. And the third chart adds day 9. We add day 9, and we can see on day 9, my weight dropped 1.4 pounds from day 8 to 191.1. The 7-day moving average for day 9, that figure is 191.9, and that's the average for days 3 through 9. And that only dropped 1/10 of a pound. So you can see that the trend was down, but even though my weight dropped 1.4 pounds, the average over 7 days, the moving average only dropped 1/10 of a pound. So in other words, what this does is when you lose a lot of weight in a day, that says, well, hold it. Well, you got to wait and see whether that's real. That takes time to see whether that's real. So don't get too excited when you lose a lot. Don't get excited when your weight goes up. This is to help keep us on a more even keel. The message here is that there's a downward trend. So now let's look at a chart that shows actual data for a 5-week period, my actual weight, and this is from early September through mid-October. And so this shows in blue my daily weight, and you can see the fluctuation. And you can see that I was over 195 pounds at one point, and then how that dropped early October and below 192 pounds in a couple of days. But you can see the fluctuation. You can see jumping up and down. And some of the, over several days, it can be like 3 pounds, or it can be up a couple of pounds over a couple of days. This is the way that weight fluctuates. But the 7-day moving average is shown in orange. We can look at the 7-day moving average and we see there's a general downward trend with a few bumps up. So this gives a very good example about the daily our moving average versus the daily weight. And so how do we monitor our weight? I recommend there's two approaches that I recommend. I think the best way to do it is to keep a spreadsheet. If you know how to use a spreadsheet, you're comfortable with entering data on a spreadsheet, and you can calculate a moving average, the average and then the moving average from day to day, I think that's the best way. It's a very simple way. But some people that are watching this video may not have a spreadsheet. They may not be comfortable really with the idea. And if you want some help, there are apps that you can use that enable you to calculate a 7-day moving average. And for the iPhones, there's an app called Happy Scale. And for Android, there's an app called Libra. Now, there's other apps out there, and you can look around for one that works well for you. The thing that I want to point out, and I want to emphasize, is there are a lot of apps out there that are involved with losing weight. There's a lot of bells and whistles. As I say, this is a simple program. I'm going to explain at a later date and talk about the apps that are available and which ones you might want to look at that may be helpful for this program, and which ones I think may be a little bit complicated. We'll go into that, though, in another video. That is appropriate subject for another video. Now, in my next video, I'm going to talk about the time of day that you eat. And more specifically, we're going to focus on the idea that you want to compress the hours that you eat. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And most importantly, please share this video with someone that you care about. So thanks, and we'll see you soon. Bye.